What's going on, my good people? This your boy Lap Up the Entertainer, here to bring you some action between Alcorn State University and Jackson State University. It's the Soul Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. So you know it's going to be crucial, okay, between both of these bands. Alright? So I do not know what to expect out of this band battle, but I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You know, Jackson is in the prime of these past years. They're in their prime. So I do not know what to expect from Jackson. But Alcorn's been knocking them down lately this year too. So, you know, it's very interesting to see what they got going on. There was some bands who choked up against Alcorn. And, you know, Alcorn's really strong. I would also say last Soul Bowl I had Alcorn over Jackson. I know people might kill me in the comments when I say that, but hey, that score, Alcorn was better than Jackson because they had a better field show than Jackson State that year. So I do not know what to expect from this battle, but I am very, 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 very excited to see how this is going to take place for both of these bands, okay? They have a 0 quarter, which is not too much. We have halftime footage, and we have a 5th quarter. Very short 0 quarter, somewhat of a short 5th quarter, but you know, hey, it is what it is. A1 Media provided the footage for us, and Showtime provided the footage for us for halftime. Alright, so I'm using both of those media teams. Alright, if you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. It means so much to me. I will also add, ladies and gentlemen, there's no favoritism. So if you're new to the channel and don't know how I operate, I have a scale. And this scale goes into the swag tier list if you're new to the channel. So if you don't know what that is, please click on the link above. Okay? That gives you an example of how I use my swag tier list. That was my swag tier list for 2024. Alright? So we in this year, and so I'm excited to see what they're going to bring in this battle. I hope they bring that intensity. Okay? So, what are we grading for 0 quarter? Look to the cards next to me so you know what we're grading. For 0 quarter, we're grading sound selection, power, articulation, arrangement, overall cleanness. Maximum points they can make all together is 45. In 0 quarter, they have spirit songs. So if a band plays a spirit song, you know, I'm going to dock them off 1 point because they forced to play it. But if it does not sound as clean as they should have been, you know, I will take away 2 points or whatever. It depends on how they sound, because sometimes bands can still fumble the bag. Bands can still fumble the bag. So you kind of get what I'm getting at on that. So, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm expecting them to, since this is like one of the last games of the season for both of these bands, one of the last games of the actual season before the SWAC championships, you know, I would say that this band battle is, you know, essential. Okay? And this is them at their best, their peak, both bands. So I'm expecting a lot from both of these bands. So if they mess up, I'm gonna call them out on it. Okay? So with that being said, I did enough rambling. Let's get into the action. Jackson's first. Kick us off. Need I say more? Oh man, everything about it was right. Everything about it was right. Woo, Jackson. Moving on. You finna give us a fanfare? You gotta love that fanfare, man. Oh, they put the side view next to each other. That's crucial. This is different. I love this view. Ooh, that changes the landscape completely. Wow. Okay, 2 cameras working. I see y'all, Jackson. They want me to get doing it. We're not gonna grade this against them because they're both playing. You can't grade this because chaotic. Because your recorder can get chaotic. tell that this is a mature Alcorn, man. You can tell. You can hear by the sound. Oh, man, that was nice. That's real nice. Yes, indeed. Whew. Not bad. Not bad. I almost docked him because of how weak, like it's not as a strong arrangement, but then when I really listened to it after close to the end, they actually stepped it up just a little bit. It didn't sound too repetitive, so I gotta give them that. So sound selection is a 5, power is 10, articulation's 10, arrangement's 10, cleanness is a 10. 45. Good job. They don't want Super Saiyan and 0 but they almost didn't get it because that Ranger could have been just a tad bit stronger. That's just me though. But I gave it to them because they switched it up a little bit in the middle, at close to the end. So I was like, I ain't mad about that. But they definitely had that hype though. They definitely had that hypeness. Alright. Some of I can. Because it's already getting chaotic. But yeah, it was good. I could hear majority of it, so it was straight. It was straight. Real good. Real good. They don't want Super Saiyan as well. Good song. Good song. Good. It was a stronger song. I will say that. It was a stronger song, but you know, still good. Moving on. We're not gonna grade this against them. We're not gonna grade that against Jackson. It has to like be like close to the middle of the battle for them to play that. Like if it's in the middle of the battle and they're playing Get Ready, then yeah, I'm gonna dock them. We're not gonna grade this either. Tubers. Oh my gosh. That was crucial. It was a crucial little battle, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So, as we speak right now, in zero quarter, it's a tie. Right now in zero quarter. That's the current standings. It's a tie in zero quarter. Okay? So we're moving on to halftime. Okay? So again, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And if you've been rocking with your boy, hit that like button because it will help boost the algorithm to the masses. Okay? Thank you so much. Alrighty, so we're moving on to halftime. Alright? And you know, this can be a dramatic difference maker. Okay? What goes in halftime can tie into fifth quarter, because I want to remind y'all, I'm grading the overall grade, not just who won what and who won this. No, I'm grading the overall scale, everything. I'm grading everything, and so it ties into the grade. And sometimes halftime really does make the difference in the battle. Okay, it can be simply over in halftime. All right, so I say this to tell you, you know, for people who are not band heads, this is how they determine who wins the battle as well, because they don't stick around for fifth quarter. They only stick around for halftime. So I just wanted to let y'all know, for people who are non-band heads, this is how they determine how the battle goes. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight that for y'all to understand that, you know, hey, you know, you got to give, you know, give it to both bands in this, and they got to really put that work in. So this can make or break it. This can make or break either band. All right. So again, ladies and gentlemen, no favoritism. You know, I'm give it from my hip. Okay, so it's gonna be, and my people might not like what I do as far as pointing out things. It might come out well. Who knows? But you get what I'm saying. So look to the cards next to me, so you know we were grading for halftime. We're grading entrance, songs, formations, dancers, breakdown, override creativity. Maximum points they can make all together is 25. With the extra incentive, they can make it to a possible 30. Okay. If they're able to get fives in all those categories besides creative, I would give them a perfect field show rating. Okay, it's very rare to see, but you know if they get it, they get it. You know, one thing also I would like to highlight as well is that you know both bands, they kind of struggle on the field, so I don't know what to expect. You know, Jackson does well on the field sometimes, but not all the time. If they really execute well. Alcorn, they surprised me when they went against Grambling. That's all I gotta say. My expectations for entrance, I'm expecting the drum majors to look clean. I'm expecting their step-offs to look clean while they're entering the field. Songs, I'm expecting them to sound good when they're stationary. Not while they're marching, but when they're stationary. Okay? Formations, I'm looking for symmetry issues. I'm looking for step-offs. I'm looking for 8 to 5 to look consistent. I'm also looking for bandsmen to get their legs up, not out there skating. Okay? For dancers, I'm expecting their stunts to go well. I'm expecting them to do the things they need to do to make it exciting. You know, I hold the dancers up to a certain status because they practice this. They're dancers, you know. They practice this. So I'm not expecting any mess ups on the field. But if they do, I'm going to call them out on it. All right. Breakdown. I'm expecting at least 3 breakdown features from both bands. At least 3 breakdown features from both bands. Creativity is kind of self-explanatory. So with that being said, I went down the list. Let's get to the action. Alcorn's first.
Mississippi. It's time for the Alcorn State University Sons of Dynamite! The band is under the field direction of Akira Showtime Scott from Jackson, Mississippi. Asking for Wait Country Time Murphy from Vicksburg, Mississippi. The new guy, Terrain, the Wanderer, Warren from Park Gibson, Mississippi. Daniel Guy, Stephen Tyler from Greenville, Mississippi. And our head drum major from Colleen, Texas, Brazilian, LG, Two Blue Bill. From the field, Egypt.
Drum majors. They did that. Some small 8 to 5 issues here. Some small 8 to 5 issues. This is a different type of field show as far as the drill. Very unique. There are some small 8 to 5 issues in this pocket. More so the bandsman on the inside. Pickups need to be better. Some more 8 to 5 issues here. step out, step 8 to 5 is definitely on the right hand side.
Oh, my safe travels as we travel to safety.
So we'll step off more 8 to 5 here.
I believe they're gonna get down to the sound of your teeth in my neck by Cali Coochie.
They did that. They did that.
Let's go, SOD. Turn us up! We got one more for you.
Okay.
Yeah, times are real to this right here. Alcorn Nation, looking here. Give it up!
Okay.
Soul Quest and Super Soul. The Alcorn Nation with the intelligence of all life is led by the maestro, Dr. Denison Martin. Assisted by Professor Solomon, Mr. Chapman, Mr. Wayne, Mr. McBride, and Mr. Mason. Your major advisor, Mr. Michael Harper. is. There is no boom without dynamite.
Alrighty, let's get that a grade. Alrighty. I was able to see what I needed to see from the back view of the breakdown. Usually if I have to turn it around, they have to spell something on the other side. But I was able to see what I needed to see in the back. In fact, I saw a whole lot more in the back. Alright. So, for breakdown, I'm going to give breakdown a 4. Songs a 5. Entrance a 5. Formations a 3. Dancers a 5. Creativity is a 5. Not bad at all, actually. Not bad at all. They end up getting themselves a 27. Okay? That is a passing grade for me. Again, ladies and gentlemen, very, very strong field show. Very strong field show from Alcorn. I think, like I said, one of the things I was criticizing them early in this season since I've been doing this series is that, they was kind of struggling a little bit in the beginning of their field shows and stuff. But one of the things that can make it better, and this is something they can work on, but to highlight it, that was a phenomenal drill. It really was. But it's the minor things that can make it look divine, So they had some step-off issues. They had some 8 to 5 issues. It was not consistent. There was some stuff inside the drill when they did the little diamond follow the leader drill, and they were doing the collapsing boxes inside the diamond. I know that it was cramped, but I feel as if it could have been like a little bit more sync inside, and it kind of threw off some of the symmetry inside the drill of what they're trying to accomplish. But very complex drill. Definitely was a complex drill, but I just feel like they needed to work on that. When it came down to the breakdown, it was very strong. I really enjoyed it. I just felt like it wasn't the energy that was missing. It was the lack of cleanness, if that makes sense. If they didn't have the girls do the thing that they did in the front, that probably would have hurt them. But because they gave me 3 and some change, it rounded up to a 4. Okay, so it's kind of rare to see Alcorn through 3 breakdowns, so it kind of makes me feel good to see them put that energy on the field. So that definitely helped curve their score to a 27. So very good field show, very, very good field show. Alrighty. We're moving on to Jackson State University and their halftime, okay? If you're new to the channel, again, please consider liking and subscribing. Jackson has been doing some phenomenal things this year. They are in their prime now. I will say this. I think the strongest field show I've seen Jackson was when they was at the Pepsi. I haven't seen them that strong anymore at the Pepsi. I'm just going to keep it 100. Keep a spade a spade. I haven't seen Jackson's field shows hit as hard as it did at Pepsi. Pepsi was different. So I'm hoping that they can bring that energy, and hopefully they can, bring that intensity like they did at Pepsi. All right? So let's give it a grade. Let's look at it. Let's see what they got going on.
The Sun Boom of the South is thrilled to bring you another incredible performance. Today we present a gospel explosion.
Ooh, gospel.
Direct your attention to the 40-yard line as the Baby Tigers pay tribute to the legendary Mama Mosey Grace with wild rolls this morning.
I love when I do stuff for kids, Love that. Very, very nice. It's very good. see the hands? Oh, that's nice. That's real nice. They did that. Very pretty. Wow. Jackson with these formations are kicking some butt right now. Ooh, good 8 to 5. Good 8 to 5. Uh-oh. Switching up. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Okay, they got it. Fixed it. Good job. Alright. Not mad at it. Very pretty dresses. I like how they're utilizing the band as if it's a curtain. That's cool. They're doing that. know what's real crucial is the fact that they kept the formation. That's what's even more better. Oh, man.
Execution.
Oh, man. Remember how I said that I haven't seen Jackson do something since Pepsi? This is it right here. This is one of them field shows they get a standing ovation from me. They get a perfect 30 from me, ladies and gentlemen. A perfect 30. Beautiful field show. Beautiful field show. I loved every bit of it. They get an exemption in the breakdown category because it's a gospel show. I wasn't really truly expecting a breakdown, so they get an exemption from that. But they hit everything. They had some minor 8 to 5 issue, just a minor, but they fixed it real quick, and it wasn't too noticeable. But I gotta give them that, man. Like, a very strong field show. They got a perfect 30. A perfect 30. That's a significance. That is a significant field show. Very beautiful field show. Everything about that field show is like, let me go back and rewatch that. That's how good that was. I don't say that often, but that was a very entertaining field show from Jackson State, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very, very entertaining field show. No complaints. No complaints. I think this is one of their top field shows that they have given. Really one of their top field shows. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. They would have pulled this shit on FAMU. Keep it 100. Keep it 100. If they would have pulled this on FAMU, yo. Woo, boy. That would have been a humongous debate. That would have been a big debate. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been a debate for the year. If they would have pulled this out on FAMU, that would have made a difference, boy. Woo. This type of energy right here, I needed that majority of this season from Jackson on the field. This right here. I needed that intensity from him. Alrighty. So, current standings, okay? As we lead into halftime, after we conclude halftime, Jackson State is up by 3 points. Okay, counted 3 points. Okay, Jackson State is up by 3. Okay, so that's a significant lead going into fifth quarter, and fifth quarter can make or break a band as well. So it's not completely over just yet. Usually I can say it's ball game, but it's not. Stuff can happen. Jackson can start missing in fifth, but how they shaping, how zero quarter sound from both of these bands, I don't know. Because it was a tie in 0. So it might be a tie fifth, I don't know. But like I said, halftime makes a difference in these battles. And I say it again. You can shoot me in the comments if not, but it makes a complete difference. Very entertaining. So we're going to get into fifth quarter, okay? Now, fifth quarter, I'm expecting a lot of things from both of these bands, but we're gonna get there when we get there. Before we get into the action for fifth quarter and give you the scale, I would like to extend the invitation to my membership program. If you're new to the channel, or if you've been rocking with your boy for a long time and you like the content, really enjoy the content, I feel as if you should be part of the membership program. With the membership program, you get a lot of more benefits, and the benefits will exceed some of these videos. You'll get recognition from me, and I will build a personal connection with you as well, as far as content is connected to, right? And if you're a percussionist, I grade strictly, only in my membership program, drumline battles as well. So I'll be grading past battles as well. So I will be grading bass battles as well. So don't hesitate to, look into that. I will link a link above. Just click on it, and I will go into detail. I will go into good detail about why you should be a member. Also, if you don't feel like being a member and you want to donate to the channel, you can. All you have to do is just hit that thank you tab below. It should look like something like this. You see where my hand is at right there? My mouse clicker right there. It should look like that. And so, I would appreciate you in the long run if you want to do that. All proceeds will go into me affording YouTube Premium. YouTube Premium, I don't know if you noticed this, but commercials will pop up in my reaction. Sometimes that kind of kills the mood sometimes. So, help me out. Help your boy out. Let's make this channel great. Look to the cards next to you so you know we'll be grading. We're grading sound selection, power, articulation, arrangement, and overall cleanness. Maximum points they can make all together is 50. Okay? I'm not expecting any spirit songs from none of these bands in fifth quarter. Okay? I'm expecting them to bring their utmost best, and so I'm hoping that they bring that energy and do whatever it means necessary to capitalize on the other band. Now, I would say this, going into fifth quarter, Jackson is up. So if I find out that, let's say that it's a tie in fifth, then we kind of got our answer. But if Jackson start fumbling the bag, or if Alcorn start fumbling the bag, it's going to be a decisive dub or a decisive change. Okay? Don't sleep on Alcorn. Alcorn's made a crucial comeback against Southern, but if you want to know what that looks like, please click on the link above. But don't sleep on Alcorn. That's all I gotta say. Don't sleep on them. All right, moving on. Let's get to the action. Shout out to A1 Media for getting the video. I'll pause first. Let's get that a grade. Alright. Sound selection is 10. Sound power is 10. Articulation is 10. Arrangement is 10. Cleanness, I'm going to cleanness a 9. Almost a perfect. Almost a perfect. And the reason why is there were some tone issues going on in that piece, and also there were some parts that can be a little bit tighter. Okay? It's there, but it's not there. And they just need to sprucing up on the small things in that piece. It's not there fully, so just need to just sprucing up on it, and then I can say that it's there. So almost a perfect. Moving on. bring it back? Okay. Looked like they was about to bring it back for a second. Jackson on that shit again. Jackson on that shit again, ladies and gentlemen. Woo. Oh, man. That's all I gotta say. Jackson's on that shit again, bruh. That's crucial. Woo, Jackson. And it's just the first round. And it's just the first round. And just with that right there, just the first round, it's a 4-point difference now. All right, moving on. That was nice. That was nice. Gotta give him that. Now, what I would say in that piece, there was some parts up in there that can be just slightly better, but they shook back, and I'm not too mad about that, okay? So if they would have continued to miss, like it was more so in the beginning, but after they got past the beginning and a little bit in the middle, that was it. So they were smashing the rest of the piece, okay? I could say there was some runs that can just be a tad bit tighter and some small attacking issues, but I got to give them a perfect on that. For the majority, it was a passing grade for me, so I gave them a perfect. Alrighty, moving on. Give this shit a Ric Flair moment. Woo! Oh my gosh, Jackson. Yo, Jackson. Damn. And they sounded clean, bruh. Oh, and they sounded clean. Woo, Jackson doing that shit again. That pen. Let's acknowledge that pen, bruh. Bruh, that pen was crazy on that. All that. Those runs are clean. All that. The whoopings. Oh my gosh. The piccolos. I heard y'all. Very beautiful, and it sounded very controlled. I think that was the most controlled I heard that band, like this season. Like, to play a complicated piece like that and sound that controlled, it wasn't even about power in that. It was just consistently clean. Like, that depth of that was a difference maker. Like, if this was on a different scale, that would be up there. Like, that would be up there. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, Jackson. That was crucial. That was real crucial. All right, moving on. Okay, Alcorn? Yeah. That's nice. That's real nice from Alcorn. Yes, indeed. They went Super Saiyan as well. Enjoyed that piece from them. Whew, that was nice. Very good. Very, very good. Again, this is a mature Alcorn. Like, I enjoy Alcorn, like, in filth, because they really bring that heat. They bring that heat in filth. You feel me? So, hey, you can't get mad at Alcorn, man. Alcorn really be bringing that heat, man. Moving on. Give that shit a Ric Flair moment. Whew. Oh man, that one Super Saiyan Blue got as well. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. It was beautiful. If I was to give one critique, the trumpets at the end. But besides that, wow. That pen, Jackson's pen is on a different level, man. Like some viral moments as far as pen game this year. Viral moments, pen game. Jackson. Yeah. Yeah. That was just beautiful. Beautiful. Like no complaints. No complaint. Like I said, just minor with that trumpet ending, but yeah. Like very balanced. Like again, I feel like they're not out here trying to outdo each other in this. Like you could tell that they're playing contained. And I always say this, I've been saying it all this year. When a band play contained like this, you don't have to outdo your pocket, that's a dangerous band to go against. That's a dangerous band to go against. It's not even about like I try to say this. I said this a couple times a couple weeks ago, or a couple vids ago rather. Just because you play loud does not mean you sound good. So for them to sound like that, yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Moving on. That got house. They got house. Okay, trombones. Alright, let's get that a grade. Alright, so it was a strong piece The pen was there, but I feel as if it could have been a little bit better as far as cleanness. The runs is what killed them in this piece. Okay, for me personally, it's there, but it's not there. I would say that there was also some parts that were just a tad bit muddy as well. So, song selections 10, powers 10, articulations 10, arrangements 10, cleanness, I'm going to give them an 8. Alright, 48 on that one. I just feel as if those runs can be way crispier than what they was given. Way crispier. There was runs in the tubas, there was runs in the high brass, there was runs in the upper lower brass. And I just feel like all those runs could have been cleaner. All those runs could have been cleaner. They just, it's not as clean. It's not as crisp as it could have been. So, yeah, I'm going to give them an 8 on that one. Alrighty, moving on. I think that's ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Jackson. Jackson. Oh man, can you say power? Alright, look. I gotta give it almost a perfect. Almost a perfect. And the reason why I say almost a perfect, trumpets. Hanging over, man. Hanging over. They were doing good. And then, that's it's starting to show now. It's starting to show now. The cracks are starting to show down with that. You still got to play within the ensemble. You can't outdo it. I always say this too. You can't outdo your pocket, but you got to make sure you don't overshoot it either. You can't overshoot it at all. Like that can hurt y'all, man. That's that make or break your move. That you just don't do it. Don't do it. All right, it look like we got one more round left, and that's it. that, Jay Skate. Ugh. Alright, let's get that a grade. Alright. Sound selections 10, powers 10, articulations 10, arrangements 10, cleanness, I'm gonna get cleanness a 9. Almost a perfect. There's some parts up in there that can be a tad bit better. You can tell when they overshot their pocket. For every section. If they just played more contained, it would be better. That's all I gotta say. So it's almost there. They just gotta play a little bit better with some more grace with it, though, man. That's all I gotta say. Moving on. Directing with the belt is crazy work. Directing with the belt is crazy work. Jackson. Directing with the belt is crazy work. That got to be one of the most diabolical things I've seen this season. Yo. He was directing with the belt. Oh man, I've seen people who just use the belt, you know, as a casual gesture, but no, he was legitimately directing with the belt. Yo, that shit's funny as hell, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Moving on. That's ball game, bro. Go ahead, close us out, Jackson. And they went Super Saiyan at the end. And they went Super Saiyan at the end. Oh my gosh. Yo. Yo. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Alright. Who won this battle, ladies and gentlemen? Who won it? Y'all want to know? I'm going to let y'all know who won, okay? Alright, so let me give y'all a recap. So when it came down to zero quarter, it was a tie for both of these bands. But when it got to halftime, it was a difference maker. The Lord was on Jackson's side. They got a perfect 30. So it was a 3-point lead. Alright? When we got to fifth, Jackson was smashing. The majority of the whole entire time. They only missed one time and got right back on the horse. Alright? So, in fifth quarter, it changed it into a dramatic lead. So it was a 7-point difference. Jackson won this battle. It was not a close battle, ladies and gentlemen. It was not a close battle. Jackson beat them bad in fifth. Alright? So, that's my verdict, ladies and gentlemen. Jackson beat them. One thing I would say, I felt like in this fifth quarter, Jackson had the better book. Definitely had the better
Victory.
book. Halftime, they had the stronger halftime. It was just, they had that momentum. They had that momentum from halftime, and they just kept carrying. Now, one thing I would say about Alcorn, as far as this battle, I think this was the last official battle of the season. All right? So, you know, hey, it is what it is. But, you know, hey, this is Alcorn's last official battle. All right? But, you know, I would say this. They dramatically improved on their field show. I got to give Alcorn this. They had a great field show. A real good drill. Entertaining drill they did. One thing I would also say as far as their showmanship as well. Now, when it came down to fifth, I feel like what hurt them the most was them playing songs that they wanted to pull out new for Jackson. I feel like because of how this battle was structured, even though Jackson pulled out a lot of new stuff on Alcorn, I feel like Alcorn was not ready to enter those waters just yet. I felt like even with that slow song that they played, you know, I felt like they could have played Sensitivity. Alcorn could have played Sensitivity and they would have been straight, you know. And, you know, they really bit the billet on that one because they end up getting a 48 because of their run. So I just feel like they should have just came up with some more of their older songs into this battle because I think they would have at least helped them out a little bit better in this battle, at least. You know, so that's my verdict on it. I got to give it to Jackson on this one. Now, one thing I would say, this is not my last video for Alcorn. I got one more video for them, and then I will be moving on to UAPB. All right? So, I will be grading their field shows when they went to these PWIs. Any minor field shows that they did this following year, I'm going to grade, and I'm going to make a big video of it. And I will give their official record in that video. Okay? So, that will be their official record. Okay? So, you know, again, after that, I will be working on UAPBs. After that, I would do Mississippi Valleys, and then I would do Bethune-Cookmans, and then we'll start working on other HBCU bands in the SWAC after those four. I wanted to get those out the way because those are the bands that didn't get no love from me this season. I also feel like, you know, I will do another poll too, so don't feel like, okay, well, you're forgetting a couple bands. No, I ain't forget about none of them. All right, so just be looking out for that soon, you know. Before I go, I would like to give a special shout out to my channel member. Really means so much that you're a member. You know, I got something special for you coming up soon, so be looking out for that video sooner. So I think you might like that video. Alright, so with that being said, I'm finna get up out of here, man. Like I said, Jackson got this one. Deuces.